Colin, Terry McLaurin skipped mandatory minicamp as he looks for a new contract from the Commanders. McLaurin is entering the final year of his current deal, coming off a career-high 13 touchdowns. According to Albert Breer, McLaurin is looking for something in the $30 million per year range, adding that he thinks eventually the two sides will agree to a deal.
Well, you can do it for about 3 years with Jayden, and I also think McLaurin has, fairly been probably underpaid for a bit of his career. There's a, sometime, this as a scout, it's a position that creates personality, and it can be an inflamed position. McLaurin is a grinder. He is a wake up, put on the gear, deliver. That's one of those guys I think there's a bit of a wide receiver bubble economically in the league, but I really like him.
I think there are some parallels, production-wise in this offense. He's never going to be a 120 catch a year guy like Jamar Chase, but the going rate for these guys is 31, 32, 33 million dollars. We saw Brandon Ayuk last year, 75 catch a year guy. They regretted that immediately. Now, I feel like McLaurin's one of the heartbeats of this team.
Oh, I do too.
Hasn't missed a game in years. Total tough guy. Adam Peters, longtime John Lynch, right-hand man, has seen these holdouts up close and personal. Debo years ago, Trent Williams, Nick Bosa. He has an understanding, they got a lot of good vibes coming into this year.
That's right.
Why is Laramie Tunzel on their team? He wants a lot of money too. Debo Samuel contract year. So there's a lot going on here, but they got a veteran coach. They got a GM that's, while he's a younger guy, he's been around the block. A lot of pressure on this team to, it's easy when you get to sneak up on everybody. They're not sneaking up on a soul this year, Colin.
Yeah, and I do think I like the Debo acquisition. I think, listen, sometimes you draft a quarterback like J.J. McCarthy and it's bad luck they get hurt, or it's Penix and they're not quite ready, or how it's viewed. When you get a guy as good as Jayden and over-delivers, and I don't know if I remember a rookie quarterback being that good, including Andrew Luck. No. You almost owe it to him to go big on offense. Draft your defense, keep it cheap and twitchy. Do kind of what the Chiefs and the Rams are doing now. Keep your defense cheap, but they know Matt Stafford's got a couple years left. We're loading up the offense. I think this kid for 2 years, when he's this good, you almost owe him a run, because Philadelphia is the only team I look at and think they're not beating Philly consistently. Outside of that, I think they match up with a lot of teams.
Well, they beat Detroit last year. Now, Detroit was injured, but I would say that they have added a lot more firepower, just talent-wise, on their team coming into year 2 of this regime. Okay, Colin.
Okay. Yeah, listen. We talk about the benefits of having a quarterback on a rookie deal, et cetera, and it's just this is the benefit. Just pay McLaurin, be done with it, and move on. Even if the contract doesn't age as beautifully as you want it to, right? Because that's always the risk. Because you could say $30 million per year. You would say he's worth $30 million a year for this year, right? But you're kind of what's this going to look like, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, you have all the games to play with, guaranteed money and, cap hits and stuff that's pretty complex that everyone just pretends like they understand, even though I'm confident they do not. And the way I look at it is you kind of just got to go for it. When it's kind of in a way what Colin is saying, where you owe it to Jayden. It's you owe it to the team. You owe it to the franchise. It's just, man, just, you guys were close last year. Just go all in. It doesn't mean it's going to work, but it's just you just do it. Because the whole future of what you'll be building with the Commanders with Jayden Daniels, first off, if Jayden Daniels is actually him, which I believe he is, obviously, that already is the source. That is the source. That is the core. That is the groundedness. You have Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is an awesome defensive coach. Allow him to build, draft, and develop the defense that he's going to be able to do. Go all in offensively. You went out and you got some protection. You got some weapons. Debo, you obviously have had McLaurin, and it's just build what you have, and any decisions, any moves, any roadblocks that you're definitely going to face, you deal with in the next few years. It's guaranteed to happen. It's guaranteed to happen, and it really is so perfect The Eagles really become such a perfect example, as much as it might frustrate a Commanders fan. They really are kind of the perfect example of how success isn't always linear. And no matter how great of a roster you build, no matter what it is, how great coaching staff you could have at a moment in time, that your things are going to change. You're going to have obstacles. 1 minute you have a great coordinator. The next minute you hire someone and it's not the right coordinator. 1 minute you have a great quarterback. 1 minute it's time to move on from that quarterback. 1 minute you have a Super Bowl roster and a Super Bowl team. The next minute you can't even win a playoff game. And the next minute, Super Bowl winners, right? And so it's like you just know. Even a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, which is an incredibly well-run team, still goes through obstacles. Has some contracts that they got to move on from. Has to deal with some dead cap hits. Has to deal with a wonky personality. A swing and a miss on a draft, a swing and a miss on a trade or a free agency signing. Whatever it may be. So you can't, you can't try to figure out, we got to do everything perfect. We can't, we got to make sure that we get the perfect money here and the perfect this, the perfect that. You just can't. You just can't. There's the one saying where it's like good is the enemy of great and whatnot. But also if you keep just trying to find perfect, right? I look at it kind of like dating. If you keep just trying to find the perfect person to date, you're going to be alone. It's just because perfect doesn't exist. And to me, when you're in this situation that you're in right now with the Jayden Daniels on a rookie deal, I'm so much more inclined to go all in and really, you're not mortgaging the future, but you're leveraging it. You're taking advantage of what you have now, understanding that if anything goes wrong, like let's say you think McLaurin only has like one good year left, which again, I don't think that's the case, but let's just say like that's why you're kind of on the fence. It's like, it's worth it right now. It's worth it right now. And any of the consequences, because of how all these contracts are set up right now, any of the consequences that you're going to face, you're going to be able to navigate. And I think you're also betting on Jayden Daniels, where Jayden Daniels is going to get paid one day. But I don't know, I have to imagine, based on who Jayden Daniels appears to be, it feels like he's going to want to create a contract, create an environment where he's going to be able to just win, where he's going to want to win, where it's just not going to be like, give me all my money. I want all the guaranteed money. I want, it's just like, I don't see that happening. I'm not telling you that he's going to be taking a $45 million contract here, but it just feels to me that, he's not gonna pull a Dak Prescott, quite frankly, or Deshaun Watson. That's just my take on it right now. And yeah, I just think you go for it now, and you have a team that's clearly right there. And even if you want to say that you think that the Eagles are a better team, they can clearly be beaten. And all it does is take, an AJ Brown to get banged up, Saquon, Jayden, it's just like, it's still football at the end of the day. So it's the Commanders are right there. They are a top team in the NFL, and little things like this do fester. And so it's kind of just like, listen, man, I don't know what 2027 is going to look like. I got no idea, but I have a really clear idea what 2025 can look like. And if we have to kind of make 2026, 2027, 2028 look a little bit fuzzier, I'm going to trust that we'll be able to make moves. I'm going to trust that if we have to cut someone and take on the dead cap, or we're going to have to try to trade and move on from something, whatever it may be, we'll be able to find that. We'll be able to figure that out. And we know that we're going to have to owe Jayden Daniels a ton of money in the coming future. And we're going to be able to navigate that. It's like, you got to have trust in your ability to navigate some of these things, rather than constantly trying to figure out, well, how do we make sure we're okay in the future? Right? How do we make sure that we get the perfect deal? It's just like, you don't have to worry about that right now, especially because you're in a position to win now. And a lot of people get confused, with even the expression of mortgaging the future. It's what the Rams do. The Rams mortgage their future. And people mistake that with sacrifice. The Rams mortgage their future, which means you put it at risk. But it doesn't mean you're sacrificing. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed to have a potential rough future. It's not what that means. You're mortgaging it. It's leveraging it. It's putting it up. You know, it's risky, but it doesn't mean that your future's now just automatically not good. And that is what the Commanders kind of have to look at some of these situations. And again, I don't even really necessarily see it as even mortgaging the future necessarily in this situation. I see it maybe technically closer, you know, on a spectrum, like closer to that side than not, but like it's not like I really think like paying like a McLaurin is a $30 million per year or such a thing. I get it. You always want to pay people less, but you know, McLaurin has proven to be obviously a great player, but also an awesome teammate. And, you know, if he had one of those personalities that you're kind of like, I don't know, I could understand some of the hesitation. But to me, and this will be my final point, this is closer to, you know, as we keep talking about things on a spectrum, this is closer to saying, do we really want to pay Saquon? Like, you know, and it's just like, yes, because of not only of his greatness, but also who he is as a person, as a teammate, and how valuable and important that is to your locker room. And what that support does when facing adversity and facing any of these other things throughout a season, throughout the weeks. So it's just like, that's easy money to spend. Ayuk didn't offer that. You know, plenty of other players don't offer that. But a McLaurin does. So just pay it, move on, and then you can actually focus on what matters. But these things are distractions. They are things. They're not nothing. It's not everything, but it's not nothing either. It is a thing. And we do start to get closer and closer. Before, in a blink of the eye, it's July, and then it's August, and then it's September, man. I mean, like, this stuff happens fast. So this is something you just want to take care of. When we talked about this before, people are like, oh, this is a non-story. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, it is something. It's not to say that, like, there's going to be this big thing and now McLaurin's going to be like, I'm out of here and he wants out now. Like, I'm not saying that either, but, like, it's still stuff you just don't want. Like, teams are more fragile than people ever want to understand. At the end of the day, this is just a collection of people who all have different hopes and dreams. They're all getting paid significantly different. I mean, like, think about how many times you're in a room with someone where one person's getting paid like $60 million and one person's getting paid like $200,000 and another person's getting paid $20 million and another person's getting paid like $15 million, but he doesn't even play football. He's just like there for whatever reason. Like, it's the amount of people and personalities, money, like backgrounds. I mean, it's actually pretty insane. It's pretty mind-blowing if you actually take a second and think about it. So these things are both really resilient, but also a lot more fragile and a lot more open to distractions than you realize. And so little things like this can add up, and you just don't want to, you just don't want it to fester. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Terry McLaurin looking for $30 million per year? Do you think that's the appropriate rate for him? How do you think the Commanders should handle this? What do you think is holding up this, I guess? Or do the Commanders not think he's worth that? Are they afraid how the contract will age in a few years from now? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.